The truth occurs. The truth occurs.
Hi everyone. Well, there's quite a battle underway between the government with their agencies like the TSA and the people who would like to protect their Fourth Amendment rights and their constitutional rights in general. Now, you all know that this basically all started out with the TSA making people go through the naked scanners and the groping searches at the airport, but more and more it's extending into other areas of people's lives. According to an article on motherjones.com, TSA Administrator John Pistoli told Congress last week that the TSA conducts 8,000 unannounced security screenings every year. Not only at the airport do they do these things, but train stations, even bus stops, even ferries and subways. And they're saying that they're not only looking for terrorists now, but also illegal immigrants. You remember the internal checkpoints that they had set up even a couple of years ago along the Mexican-American border, but in about 50 miles from the border, where they would just stop Americans and ask them for ID? Basically illegal internal checkpoints. Well, this is not really that different. You could be on a subway or a train, a ferry or whatever, and you get stopped by the TSA, and it's not because you're a terrorist, maybe because you're an illegal. I mean, these are internal checkpoints. They say here that the surprise visits are part of the TSA's VIPR program, VIPR, Visible Intermodal Prevention and Response. But this program is actually not directly from the TSA. It's from DARPA, which is part of the Department of Defense. And the article on motherjones.com is entitled, "Surprise, TSA is searching your car, subway, ferry, bus, and plane." Surprise? Well, not really, because not even 2 months ago, CBS told us experts say security checkpoints near soft targets may soon become the norm. You might end up having your bag searched at the shopping mall or anywhere else you go. Anywhere is fair game. Terrorists are expected to aim for more vulnerable soft targets like shopping malls or museums. Just kind of convenient for the government, the TSA and DARPA, because they were planning to violate your constitutional rights in those places anyway, so now they have a good excuse. And it's not only the federal government and the TSA who are working on violating your constitutional rights while you're in transit. Cedar Falls City Council okays controversial lockbox ordinance. The local government set up a system of lockboxes so that the fire department could have access to the keys of any building with 6 units or more, including also businesses. And this is supposed to be so they don't have to knock the door down if the building's on fire. Although it seems to me that if the building was on fire, damaging the door would be the least of their concerns. Meanwhile, in Kentucky, they set a precedent that the cops can just bust your door down if they smell pot or hear you destroying evidence, i.e. flushing the toilet. I'm not making this up. Supreme Court allows warrantless search based on smelling. But what really concerns me here is there seems to be a lack of agreement on what to do with people's doors. In Iowa, they want you to give them the keys so they won't have to break your door down if there's a fire. In Kentucky, they want to break your door down if you flush the toilet. The best thing to do maybe would be for all citizens nationwide to give the government the keys to their house. That way no doors will ever be damaged. And that way everybody will be happy. The government, the police with their exceptional sense of smell, everybody I guess except for the people who like to have their constitutional rights respected. And not surprisingly, air freshener market on the rise. 2010 witnessed the bouncing of the ball in air fresheners. And what's more, they expect noticeable growth in the next several years, with the air freshener market reaching $8.3 billion by 2015. But unfortunately, air fresheners won't solve all our problems, not to mention they won't do a thing for you at the airport. And I guess with that in mind, Texas TSA legislation returns as brave rep calls out Perry for neglecting bill. See, Texas was trying to criminalize the TSA groping searches. They put a bill in that was passed unanimously by the Congress, but then rejected by the Senate. However, a recent letter from the bill's author, Representative David Simpson, has convinced the reluctant Perry to add House Bill 41 to the call for special session in the state Senate after all. So the bill is back, and well, let's see what happens this time. If Texas manages to criminalize the TSA groping, other states might follow suit. And in fact, Michigan considers banning TSA groping and molestation. But the TSA is going to fight back. They're set to take legal action against Texas groping ban. If the bill passes, the TSA would take legal action to prevent the law from being implemented, indicating that the government would once again resort to threatening Texas with a blockade that would impose a de facto no-fly zone over the state. But what about the little children? Can't you keep your hands off the kids? Well, the TSA lies about policy change on child pat-downs. They're going to do the pat-downs anyway because terrorists use children to carry bombs and things like that. Right. You know, people don't just turn their kids into human bombs just like that. People do that under extreme circumstances, like when they're at war and all the adults have been used up, or, you know, in really extreme circumstances. So let's hope that this Texas legislation and Michigan legislation goes through and that other states have the guts to stand up against the federal government with their tyrannical agenda, because what's really at stake here is the Constitution, people's constitutional rights, like the Fourth Amendment, to protect them against unreasonable search and seizure. Some people think that the government would want to do something like impose martial law across the states to bring in their agenda, but I don't think that's the plan at all. I think this is the plan, to just slowly hack away at your freedoms until one day, poof, they're all gone. Where did they go? So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on, and leave me your comments on what you think. So, well, thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.